Hey, all, this is David Ducker coming back at you, and today I'm going to be talking about false idols in RPGs. This kind of stems from a conversation that I was having with Pastor Ben regarding his upcoming RPG, which I believe he'll be calling Dragon Seed. It's a Christian RPG, and it's basically really drawn from Christian mythology, and he's hoping to use it to promote some discipleship, which is very interesting. I think it has a lot of potential to be a strong game, since there's so many cool, interesting things you can get out of Christian mythology. We'll see how heavy-handed he is with his discipleship. Romain Darion, who is adamantly atheist on our YouTube RPG Brigade board, has already nicknamed it Fundamentalist, the Bible Thumping. which I tried to I thought was funny, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. You said that, Pastor Ben? And Pastor Ben's like, I don't think so. so I'm kind of in the middle. I'm friends with both guys. They don't get along because of religious differences. That's cool, I guess. If they want to be like that. But to get back to my point about false idols, I think it's a really cool idea that that someone's faith can be diverted into a direction other than they think it's going into. And this is not applying to real world Christian practices, although you could, but I won't go there for Romain's sake and for any other peeps out there who. It's just not worth it. This is not a channel devoted to religious conversations and theology. But in the game world, let's talk about theology in the game world. To have someone who thinks they're worshiping one thing and they're actually worshiping something else, it's a pretty interesting idea to me. And there's so many ways you could twist it and so many directions you could take it in. In a setting where your faith goes to your God and empowers your God, if it's diverted, you're actually powering an evil God. That could be really cool. That's probably the most interesting thing you could do with this idea. You could also take it in the direction that you think you're worshiping one God. You're going to go to their afterlife, and then you end up in a different afterlife that you weren't expecting. That's very fun. And about all of the inquisitions that could be trying to stamp this out, and all of the cults that could be trying to promote this, perhaps unknowingly, or a subversive faction within a religion trying to turn the religion into something other than what it really presents itself as. I think the classic example is Temple of Elemental Evil, where it was a temple of 4 elements, and they had different people worshiping different elements, or worshiping the elements as a whole, nature cult, something like that. But actually, it was all set up by it was either Jubilex or an impronounceable demon. If I think it's like Zog Tiamok, or something like that. Zogtimok. Please correct me down below if you care to, if you know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to just say Jubilex, because I can actually pronounce that. So it was actually Jubilex, who was a demon lord, that set the whole thing up, and all of the prayers and all the power were actually going to Jubilex. And everyone thought they were worshiping nature and they're making nature stronger, but they're actually making Jubilex stronger. Really, really interesting storyline. Very, very cool. And there's so many great ideas that I get out of that you could do with it. And again, 2 modes. You could have a really good deity and a really evil deity. And these 2 really opposed, polarized factions. Or you could have something more like a Greek mythology, where the gods are not really good or evil. They're kind of forces of nature. And they each have their own portfolio, and they each have their own personalities, but they're not generally really, really good or really, really evil. You could look at Apollo as being generally good, and you could probably look at maybe Hades as generally kind of evil, or Ares. Ares is a better example of a more evil god in Greek mythology. But he's not, at certain times Ares can be beneficial to you, and at certain times Apollo will strike you down, even though, you don't feel that it's justified. But he doesn't care. He's a force of nature. He does what he does. So even something like that could be very interesting. Especially if you bring them in Titan cults, or if you have other mythologies crashing into each other. I had a game, my Legends of the Seven Sands game, where we had Egyptian and Greek and Norse mythologies. We had 3 different regions. Our game was primarily set in the Egyptian style region, but there were crusaders and there were priests of the other religions present to a small degree, and just how they could subvert each other and whatnot. There was also, of course, Cthulhu-like cults and a demon cult as well. Because I love demonology and I love Cthulhu mythos. I love little cults and all the great stuff you can do with them. It really gets my gears cranky about adventure ideas. My favorite character class to play is a cleric, and that doesn't mean it's a goodly cleric either. It's not just I'll heal you. No, I'll play evil cleric just as often. Maybe even a neutral cleric. I could see getting down with a lawful neutral cleric as well. I don't know about chaotic neutral. It's a very difficult alignment for me to play in general, but we could still make something work with it, especially if you get like a Cthulhu mythos chaotic neutral cleric where he's just a little nutty. That could be very interesting. So a lot of my plot lines involve religion, or I just have some religious plot lines as well. Of course, like I said, in real life, I'm a fairly religious person. So I find alternate religions fascinating. Even in the real world, I find, I love talking to my friends who are Jews or Muslims. I don't really have any Muslim friends right now. I've worked with several. I've had great conversations with them, though. And of course, my main man Mike, he's Jewish. He's playing Ulrich in our Return of the Runefangs game to great success. Excellent character, and it's only going to get better too. I love it. But I just thought I'd share this idea of the false idols, and that you can trick someone into worshiping something they shouldn't be worshiping, or they don't know they're really supporting what they are supporting. It opens so many doors. You could even do something subversive, like a good cleric maybe goes out amongst the orcs and he teaches them to worship a goodly god, and they think that this goodly god is actually more evil and intense and harsh than he actually is. And so the orcs are even supporting this very benign deity, and they don't realize it. So you could swing it the other way as well. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this idea in gaming, not real life theology. We'll leave that can of worms closed and sealed. I think Pastor Ben has a channel just for his religious studies and debates, so you can go on there and yell at him. Please leave me out of it. This channel is only for gaming. But I'd love to hear if you've done anything similar to this or seen any storylines similar to this that you can throw out there for inspiration to all my subscribers. I'd love that. I'd love to hear about it as well. So I'm going to be signing out now. God bless everyone. God bless us.